Let's take a tour of my school library. Normally I would do this at the very beginning of the school year because everything is perfectly curated to look nice, but I think it's important for you to be able to see what the school library looks like when it has been lived in right here in the 500th day of January. So let's go take a tour. Behind me we have the front doors where we walk in. We do have to go downstairs to get into the library, but don't fret, I do have a back door so that if somebody cannot make it downstairs, there is another entrance. This is a very old building. It was built in like the 1940s or 1950s. This used to be the cafeteria. So yes, there are stairs because, well, I can't help the construction. I have a stick together puzzle on the wall that has not been completed in the last couple of months. Why has it not been completed? Because somebody threw away the rest of our stickers and now it lives there as that, wishing for new stickers. I'm gonna get there. But again, it's the 50th day of January and that's just not something that's been done. So as you come into the beginning of the library, we have a quick fiction section. Quick fiction is my take on an early chapter book. My nonfiction that is like a leveled reader type of nonfiction. And on the other side of this shelf is the fiction version of those leveled readers. I've got some Spanish books here in my middle shelves because those are kind of for some of my younger Spanish readers so that they can kind of find them over here. And I have had people that have said, well, why don't you have your Spanish books totally integrated in the library? And that is a good question, but my bilingual community has requested that I keep them separate so they don't have to go searching through the 10,000 English books to find the 1,000 Spanish books, if that makes sense. So my early chapter books, my quick fiction is here in alphabetical order in the buckets by topic, or not by topic, but by different like chapter books. So Minecraft, Mermaid Tales, Magic Tree House, Narwhal, Notebook of Doom, every single one of them has a label that tells us what series or couple of series are in that bucket. As we leave that quick fiction and leveled reader section, we find our way over to my desk area. I keep library cards in this little container right here, organized by homeroom teacher, and it works fairly well. And then I've got the books that I just checked in, my stat board, way too many things behind my desk. One day we may go back there, but not today. I have tables all through the middle of the room. I have 9 different tables. I usually have 2 or 3 of them taken up with something to do with activities. For example, this is an activity center, and the one across from it is coloring sheets. And I have all of those laid out for the kids to use pretty much all of the time. So kind of for like a better view over here, I've not touched this since my last class of the day left. I had 5th graders. I've also got this coloring center here. This book is on a table because we have a teacher that just graduated with a master's degree and we're going to be signing it and giving it to her. And I had a bunch of kids that were signing. I do need to make some more copies, I can see. Pretty much every table, aside from the ones that have the different papers out on them, are gonna have some kind of plastic bucket full of supplies on there. I got these from Lakeshore probably 6 years ago. They've held up very well, aside from the fact that the kids are constantly coloring on them, which it is what it is. Again, because this used to be the cafeteria, it is a very large space. Behind me, I have my picture book wall. This is my everybody section. And when I swing back around, you can see the front doors, that quick fiction section. I have holiday books in both of these browsing bins over here. I've got some Nordic rockers from the Scholastic website, a rug from the Scholastic Dollars website, pillows, and another rug from Scholastic website. This is really like our living room area. This is where we do a lot of our hanging out. This is my chair that I like to read in. The kids will sit on the carpet in front of me and in all of this different like flex seating pretty much all over the place. They will choose to hang out here in every lifetime, especially because it puts them in proximity to the fairy house. Now, when I stand here on this side, I've got the sun behind me. As I turn all the way back around, you'll see this big wide opening back here. That is what we consider the back of the library, and there's a lot more. So let's go look at it. As we walk through, something that a lot of people will notice is that I've got different colored lines or colored things that are over on the floor. They do, in fact, serve a purpose. For example, the green will lead us to the beginning of the nonfiction section, which wraps itself all the way around the library. All the way. My furniture back here is a mess because I've had 5th graders. I've even got somebody's hoodie on the floor. I've got piles of books that are on the shelves. And all things considered, it could look worse back here. It really could. This is also nonfiction. This is my incredibly disorganized biography section, so the piles of books do make sense. This is a work in progress. It is, guys. We have more nonfiction in this area. This is my 900 section of nonfiction that takes up both sides of this. And when we go behind me, I've got my sports section, which This is one of my favorite things that I did this school year. The kids love this section. The sports books have never been better organized than all of these buckets and topics, and it's pretty amazing, honestly. As I integrated more buckets into my shelving this year, I saw my nonfiction circulation stats go way, way up. So I really do think that all of the, it's kind of a mess right now, but the buckets and all of the work that I've been putting into it has come a long way. So as we keep walking through this nonfiction section, we do end up finding ourselves, one, at the back door, and two, in my fiction section, where at the beginning of the year, I did dynamic shelving. And I've had a lot of questions about that dynamic shelving and how it's holding up at this point of the school year. And I'm very happy to tell you, it looks terrible, and the kids love it. We've never checked out more chapter books. It's pretty amazing. It's a mess. It is. Why? Because I don't spend every day going through and making dynamic shelving look pretty. It drives me crazy to look at a lot of the time, even though it's very exciting because, well, let's get a little closer. When books get taken from piles, they don't always necessarily make it back to the exact right places, but they do try. And I will say that all of the piles, while they distract me, I mean, you know, we've got that going on there. Those piles don't seem to bother the kids. The little messes don't seem to bother the kids. And yes, of course, I do go through and I clean up whenever I can. But as far as keeping it looking perfect goes, I have not found that to be necessary. The kids are obsessed with that, which, you know what? Win for me. I'll take it. Behind me over here, I've got two different book spinners. This one, I keep all of my different who would and who was type books on. The other one over here is usually, I knocked over a chair, it's fine. The other one over here is usually full of graphic novels. It's mostly empty because the graphic novels that go on it are Babysitter's Club, I Survived, Dogman, and Wings of Fire, which are the four horsemen of the library graphic novel section. Really, it's very hard to keep any of those on the shelves these days. I am most likely skipping things and not showing you absolutely everything that you want to see. So if you have specific questions, please feel free to ask me. I will yap about basically everything in here. And thanks for walking around with me and taking a look at all my stuff. It doesn't look half as bad as I was expecting for January.